Now it's time for the CEO Sit Down. In this segment, I sit down with a CEO or a major executive of a local company, and we discuss their business and its impact on Ventura County. Today, we're focused on the real estate market. My guest, Dan Pearson, leads the sales efforts for REO Reseller.com in Ventura County. Dan has extensive career in the investment industry. He recently redirected all of his efforts towards the real estate market after a long career in fixed income field. Welcome to the show, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Well, thanks so much for coming into the studio. So I want to get into the specifics of REOResellers.com and what you do. But before we even go there, I've got two very fundamental questions I want to ask you with respect to the residential housing market. First of all, why residential real estate and why now?
Well, residential real estate, as you know, everybody has to have shelter. So no matter what goes on in the economy, what goes on in the world, people need to have shelter. And the government sees to it that people get shelter. And so for the residential real estate, that is something that is easy to manage. You could know what your costs are going to be, you know what the prices of houses are going to be, you know what the rents are going to be, you know pretty much what repairs are going to be. So there's a lot of factors involved in residential real estate that you have a fix on.
Sure, but Dan, let me stop you right there, because why now? This is one of the worst residential real estate markets that we've seen since the 1930s.
Well, it depends on what you're in it for. If you're in it for speculation, which we're not, it could be. We're in it to provide investors with a fixed rate of return, fixed income on a secured investment that they will own themselves. It's not a part of a real estate investment trust, not a part of anything. It's their own individual house, which they will get cash flow from.
All right, well then I think it's time we get into some of the specifics. So REO Resellers offers several different real estate financial packages. All of them, as we said, are in residential real estate. What are those packages?
Well, there's one package, what we call the buy and flip model. The idea is that you buy a house through REO Reseller. REO Reseller will have rehabbed the house, will have find a renter, and then that becomes a marketable item for a long-term investor that wants long-term cash flow and appreciation in real estate. So we bundle all that up for the client, and then we give it our best effort to get that house sold, ideally within a year. It cash them out. If they're happy, then they come back in and buy another house. So that's what we call the buy and flip. The other one's called a buy and hold. This one is where you're actually going to buy the property again. It's already going to be rehabbed. It's going to have a renter, long-term lease. It's going to have a property management in there. Everything's going to be taken care of for the investor. But this is an investor just wants cash flow, wants to have their money sitting at least 2 to 3 to 5 years, and then see where the market goes to see if that might be a time to capture some gains. But we're not interested initially in where the volatility of the market is, as we are what's a good rate of return based on rents and the value of a home for our investor.
All right, so let's break it down if we can and take a look in some more specific. On the buy and resell model that you talked about before, the one that you called the buy and flip, what is the initial investment, minimum initial investment that one has to have to get involved?
There's only one price in that program, that's $44,900.
$44,900.
So $44,900, and typically all of our houses are purchased by cash, whether it be through an IRA, 401k, defined benefit plan, a bank CD, a brokerage account. The idea is that we pay cash. Our investors pay cash for these houses, so we don't worry about interest rates, worry about foreclosures or any of that business. They'll own the house and they'll get immediate cash flow.
Okay. Now talk about the ongoing income, where we're going to hold the house for 3 to 5 years. What's the minimum investment there?
The minimum investment on that, we have initially we have 3 price points on that. We have a $42,900, a $49,900, and a $54,900. And each of those models, it just helps people with different ability to get in to buy a home without having to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. But all of those things are designed to create at least a 12% or more cash flow to the investor. Net, net, net. That's after property taxes, property management, and after insurance.
That's an impressive return. Let's talk about the fundamentals. Who actually owns the deed to the house in one of your investments?
Our investors. Initially, the REO Reseller goes through the list of houses in a particular area. Right now, we're strong in Birmingham, Alabama, and we have some houses in Jacksonville, Florida. But we go into an area that has enough inventory. so that that it will make sense to do the repairs, get the rent, and be able to cash flow. So at 42.9, the rents may be $600. At 49.9, it might be $650. At 54.9, it might be $750. So by the time we extract out the expenses of maintaining that property, we still want to net to the investor at least 12% on their money.
All right, Dan. Now, I hear on the radio commercials that are playing, they almost sound too good to be true for residential real estate. They go something like this: low money down, $7,500, and then you're in real estate investment with a guaranteed rent for 5 years, positive monthly cash flow, and more. I mean, they almost sound too good to be true, and in this particular case, it is too good to be true. It's a scam. So I guess one of the questions that the viewers are going to want to know is about legitimacy, because there are these real estate scams out there. Talk to us about REO Resellers, the legitimacy. What makes you so confident in the product that you're selling?
Yeah, we go through a great deal of effort to protect the investor. That's why every investor owns their homes individually or through their trust or through their, but it's their individual home. They get the deed, they get the insurance policy, they get their closing documents, they get pictures of the house, they get the comps on the house, they get everything that shows that this is their asset. This is their, their house. And so for REO Reseller, and all this goes through escrow, so none of the money gets released to REO Reseller until there's a house in place where the deed gets transferred to the investor. So, so if REO Reseller goes away, there's still the house that's owned by the individual, and there's still a property management firm in place that is not a part of REO Reseller.
So you have the security of the house as collateral on that. Dan, if people are intrigued and they want to learn more about REOResellers.com, maybe learn a little bit more about you, where would you direct them to go on the internet?
Well, you can go to REOReseller.com, or you can email me, dan@REOReseller.com, or you can call me at 805-390-0268.
That's great. Dan, thank you so much for being our guest here at CEO Sit Down, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
My pleasure.